Let me minimize this first. Today we're going to add two new rules from last week. Last week we talked about alternate interior, alternate exterior. So we're still talking about parallel lines with a transversal. So I'm going to talk about two different examples. One of them we're going to call corresponding. So I'm going to write the name for one of them. And the other one is going to be called same side interior. Do notice that I put a little dash in between same and side. So same side interior. For today and last week, the names were not important, but by the end of the week, they will be. On the test on Friday, there's 15 questions, and 5 of them is identify or name that relationship. So the name, make sure you guys understand that by Friday. Like I said, today is not going to be that important, but by Friday, it will be. Now, corresponding angles. If I was to label my angles, my corners on the top, I'm going to call them A, B, C, and D just to name them something. I name each corner A, B, C, D. If I was to copy it, that corner actually happens to copy at the bottom. So I'm going to say at the bottom A, B, C, D, right? I'm going to copy them as well. We're going to call it that angle A corresponds with angle A. Corresponds means it go like where it goes. So this angle A corresponds here. So it goes here, right? When I copy it, it goes here. You guys see angle B with angle B. Thank you. So where they go, they correspond. If I look at angle, just to look at another example, angle B corresponds with this other angle B, right? Where does it go? The interesting part of corresponding angles is that whether you look at my red example or you look at my blue example, my corresponding angles are both on the same side of the transversal. I'm going to use the red as an example. They're both on the left side of the transversal, but one of them is interior and one of them is exterior. So they're both on the same side of the transversal. One of them is interior and one of them is exterior. The interesting part of corresponding angles is that they are congruent. For congruent, we're going to use the symbol of equal and the wiggly thing on top. Congruent means same shape, same size. So same shape, it's an angle, same size. So congruent angles are equal to each other. Now, same side interior, I'm going to focus it with red. Same side interior, the name kind of says it all. Same side, they're both on the same side of the transversal, and they're both going to be interior angles. So as an example, this angle with this other angle. So these two are same side interior. They're on the same side of the transversal, and they're both interior. This top angle, we can tell it's less than 90, right? Because an L shape is 90. We can tell that one is less than 90. The bottom, we can tell, is more than 90. So they're not quite equal to each other. These case, they are supplementary. My two same side interior angles are going to be supplementary. Now, supplementary, what it means is that they add up to 180. My two angles would add up to 180. They're not quite the same number. They just add up to 180. And we call it supplementary. Any questions so far? No. So now, as an example, the way we're going to see it on our homework, my first question says solve for x. My two lines are parallel, so we have to solve for x. This case, I'm looking at same side interior. And I know same side interior, I add everything. So I'm just going to go 10x minus 5 plus 7x plus 15. Right? I'm going to add my two angles, and it is equal to 180. So I'm dealing with same side interior. I'm going to separate them to the equal sign. My x's on the left, I can't combine them. 10 plus 7. I'm going to call that 17x. Then my 9x's, negative 5 plus 15, I can also combine them. I'm going to call them plus 10. And this is equal to 180. I just simplified the left side. Now, to get the x by itself, I'm going to get rid of the plus 10. I'm going to bring it to the left, to the right side as a minus 10. So I have that 17x equals 170. Divide by 17, x equals 10. My instructions are solve for x, so x equals 10. Whenever we type it, just type in 10. Now, looking at question number 2, it says find the value of x that makes the lines u and v parallel. Notice how I called one line, I called the u, how I called the other one v, and I'm saying I want them to be parallel, so which x will make them parallel? So I'm looking at corresponding. Right, those look like corresponding angles. And I know for corresponding, they equal each other. So I'm going to go 102 is equal to 9x plus 12. I'm going to separate to the equal sign. I want the x term by itself. So the way I'm going to get rid of the plus 12, I'm going to subtract 12. So I get that 90 is equal to 9x. Divide by 9, x is equal to 10. Or whenever we type, just type in 10. Now, the instructions, even though they look different, one of them says solve for x, the other one is find the value of x that makes lines u and v parallel. Even though they look different wording, is the same thing. Find the value of x, solve for x. The only difference on why one of them is equal to 180 and why the other one they equal to each other, because on the left side, we're dealing with same side interior. And I said in same side interior, the two angles add up to 180. In my example number 2, we're dealing with corresponding. And I said corresponding, they equal each other. So the instructions are the same. The difference of the work is which type of angles you have. Any questions on those? Now let's take a look at examples 3 and 4. Here I'm asking you guys to find the measure of the angle indicated in bold. So for question number 3, I see that we have same side interior. The way I'm going to solve for x to begin with, I'm going to add everything. 12x minus 6 plus 4 plus 14x is equal to 180. Right? Same side interior, add everything and equals to 180. Yes. Same side interior, they're supplementary. So every time we're dealing with same side interior, you add them up and equals 180. Always with same side interior. Yeah, these two angles together equal 180. How do I know it equals to 180?
Yeah, like I don't get
Okay. Let's make an example up. So explain this real quick. Let's call this 100, just to say a number. I know this angle with this bottom angle, if you notice, is the angle of a line. So they have to add up to 180. This is 100. I'm going to say this bottom one is 8. Now, I know that if this is 100, this one at the side should be also be 80 because it's the angle of a line. This angle at the bottom should be 100. So I think so far so good, right? You understand that. Now, if I was to write these numbers here at the bottom, I'm going to write them in blue. This is 100. This is 80. This is 100. This is 80. Now, look at my same side interior angles. If I add them up, equals 180. Look at my other side, same side interior angles. Same side interior angles will always add up to 180.
yeah, but I'm asking you like why did you put the equals 180 if you haven't solved it yet?
Because if I'm looking at my angles, this angle and this other angle, they're both same side interior. Right? They're on the same side of the transversal and they're both interior. Every time I'm dealing with same side interior, they add up to 180. So now going on the work, right? So I just wrote everything, add everything equals to 180. On the left side, I can combine the x's, right? 12x plus 14x, I'm just going to simplify it. That's 26x. Then I have a negative 6 plus 4. That's negative 2. And this is equal to 180. All I did was simplify the left side, right? Just make it less. I want the x term by itself, so minus 2. I'm going to move it to the right side as a plus 2. So I have the 26x equals 182. Divide both sides by 26. 182 divided by 26 happens to be 7. Now here my question is not what's the value of x. The question is what's the value of the angle